Alrighty guys, we're back for some City on Fire mid-range, and this is a March of the Machine, the Aftermath Standard Brew. We're gonna go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Redcat and I play aggro decks and any decks with red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to ya. Also, we do get that Discord link down in the description if you're interested in joining that up. Okay, what do we got in the build here? We have City on Fire, which is an 8 mana enchantment with Convoke, so our creatures can help us cast this. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage instead. Oh, that reminds me, guys, this was actually a revisit request in the comments, so thank you so much for the request. This is gonna be a fun one to revisit. So we have a whole bunch of stuff in here that works with City on Fire, obviously, or helps it get convoked out. But we do have a fun little combo with Ill-Tempered Loner. This is a 4 mana 3/3 human werewolf. When it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target. So what ends up happening if you have City on Fire out there, if this is dealt damage by something you control, like a potential board wipe, like Elder Dragon War deals 2 damage to each creature, that 2 damage would get tripled while dealing damage to the loner, so it would be 6 damage, and then the 6 damage dealt to the loner with that ability would be tripled again to 18 damage, which can be very explosive. Also, Ill-Tempered Loner is just one of those creatures that's really fun to play with. It's got like a decent amount of power, but it's also like a fair card, you know what I mean? Okay, what else do we got packed in here, guys? Let's actually start at the beginning. We have a single Flame Blessed Bolt. Sometimes that exile really comes in handy, huh? Got a couple Gleeful Demolitions in here. Not the main way to go wide, but it's still in here, and we still have ways to generate artifacts as well, so I think it'll come in handy often. Got a couple Play with Fires. Being able to ping the opponent's face and scrying is important when we're actually trying to burn the opponent's face as well, so we have 4 Voldaren Epicures in here. Generating the blood token is fine. Dealing the damage is great, especially if it's 3 damage when City on Fire is on the board, right? Or a couple City on Fires, all of a sudden dropping an Epicure from your hand is super deadly, right? And yeah, honestly, filtering off the blood token is pretty good as well. We have a couple Riveteers Requisitioners, a 2 mana 3/1 underplayed creature. When it dies, create a treasure token, and then it has Blitz for 2 and a red. You know what? I'm starting to wonder if this isn't played that often because of etching, right? You know, Kamano flips into etching, and then all of a sudden you don't block well with Requisitioner anymore because it gets exiled. So maybe that's why. Either way, this will help us bridge the gap between the early to the mid game quite nicely. Honestly, we might want more than 2, but I think 2 will be fine this time around. Got all 4 Rouse reinforcements helping us go wide. Gonna be important. Also, chump blockers. Very important as well. Got a little bit of ramp here. We got a couple Glittering Stockpiles. I've been having quite a bit of success with Stockpile, and I like how it works as, an extra artifact. You could potentially play this down on turn 3, instantly tap it for a Gleeful Demolition, and then target it with the Gleeful Demolition, get 3 creatures on the board. That could be totally fine. Same concept with Celestus. Celestus is a little bit more powerful than Glittering Stockpile, I would say, because that life gain actually comes in handy way more than you would think, and also filtering, right? Filtering through a bad hand is very important. Trying out Into the Fire this time round instead of something like Brotherhood's End. I thought I'd put Brotherhood's End over here in the honorable mentions, but trying out Into the Fire. If you don't think 2 damage is going to be enough damage, then trade this out for Brotherhood's End right now. Other than that, I think there's plenty of moments where 2 damage is going to be enough. And of course, if we have City on Fire on the board, then that does triple that damage anyways. So we'll see. Obviously, these board wipes wipe our board too, so definitely something to think about. Into the Fire, you get to choose one of these. Deals 2 damage to each creature, planeswalker, and battle. Okay. And then you can also choose this bottom ability, put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library, then draw that many cards plus 1. Not bad, guys. It's like I keep saying, filtering is important when we know how to draw poorly, huh? Speaking of filtering, I only went over the top ability on Elder Dragon War. Second chapter, you can discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards. And then third chapter, you get a 4/4 Flying Dragon, which can help us close up games, obviously. Got a couple Stoke the Flames. The Convoke on here is absolutely disgusting. 4 damage to any target is terrific, but with City on Fire on the board, this just helps us close up games easily. Also helping us close up games, we got all 4 Burn Down the House in here. Those devils can be absolutely insane, and more often than not, we're just using this as a board wipe, though, because the opponent's decks are ridiculous, and somehow we need to pull off a turn 4 Burn Down the House often, so that's another great reason to have the ramp off of Celestus and Stockpile here on 3, right? So on 4, we can actually drop the 5 damage to everything with Burn. We also have some Skitterbeam Battalions here. It's a 9-mana 4/4 Trample Haste, and when Skitterbeam Battalion enters the battlefield, if you cast it, create 2 tokens that are copies of it. We're really looking at this for the prototype cost for 3 and double red. It's a 2/2 instead of a 4/4, so you'll get 3 2/2 Trample Haste that are also artifacts, so that does work with Gleeful Demolition. Helps us go wide nicely. I think that the extra damage from the trample too could actually help us close up games as well, especially if we have City on Fire on the board too. So all right, is that everything already? This one was relatively easy to go over because we actually see quite a few of these cards, especially here on the channel, right? Mana base, we do have a couple Crucible of Defiance. Going wide with spirits, you guys know the whole concept of Convoke. You know, it's going to be important sometimes, and it's not going to hold you up too often as a legendary land, although it will happen, don't get me wrong. We have 25 total land in here, and one of them is a Mirrex, which I've been having a lot of success with in a lot of different types of builds, so definitely a land to keep an eye on. More honorable mentions over here. I added a Lightning Strike just as a reminder that more removal and more like maybe just burn in general or utility removal might be required in a list like this, and something like a Lightning Strike, you know, it does work with that combo with the whole Ill-Tempered Loner, where if you have City on Fire, the Lightning Strike damage to your Loner would be tripled to 9, and then the Loner would be tripled again to 27. So, you know, that could be really good, but I couldn't find room for just a generic Lightning Strike this time around, so honorable mentions for a reason, as I say. Let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, and see how we do. All right, what am I expecting from the list, guys? I'm expecting a little bit. Last time we played City on Fire, it was just an absolute boss monster of a card. So, we'll see, we'll see. Also, I think the last time we played City on Fire, Invoke Despair was still in the format. So, that's gone. It's a little bit harder to remove enchantments, or I guess people are playing less enchantment removal. Opponent goes first. This could be a really risky hand, man, but we got some chump blockers for a couple turns. Okay, I convinced myself. Gleeful Demolition not doing anything right now, but let's not forget it can hit opponent's artifacts too if it comes time. Sometimes I do forget that. Like, we always just treat this as, oh, sacrifice one of our own artifacts. Obviously, it doesn't say sacrifice. That be a very different keyword on there. Okay, 2 open. Another Gleeful Demolition. That's both of them in the deck. And this deck in particular, yeah, I didn't think 3 or 4 was going to be worth it. With all the other ways that we can go wide, you know? Alright, if this gets countered, it is what it is, man. We have the second one, so it's not bad. It's sorcery speed too, so we can't, like, keep it open for the opponent's turn or anything. Yeah, we're gonna need to see more than the Gleefuls off the top. I guess even mana would have been better. Jace already, wow. Okay. We go for the plus. City on Fire. Okay. Unfortunately, that's our turn, man. Not a lot of fancy stuff going on over here right now. It's really good to see the City on Fire, though. Keeping 4 open. Probably a Wandering Emperor. Stoke the Flames available. We are a couple away from the City on Fire. It'd be awesome to get this Burn Down the House for Devils next turn if we see a land. Let's see if the Wandering Emperor picks up this poor little elemental. I guess we don't have to attack. We could just let them, like, we don't have to play into a potential Wandering Emperor. Alright, I'll hold back this time. I think usually we just swing right into the Wandering Emperor and we accept the fate. Okay. See, like, it also could have been like an open memory deluge or something like that. So they go +1 again. I have to Stoke the Flames. I wonder if they counter this, and I wonder if we just, like, do we hit Jace? It's not getting dangerous yet, right? The -X could hit for... it's 3 times the X, so 18. It's not that bad. I think we still try to hit the Jace, though, because I think that would warrant the counter, and if we get a counter out of their hand this turn, then there's a chance that we actually land the burn if we see a land. See, now the burn probably doesn't land, right? It'd be really nice if it did, and I suppose they'd just be waiting for the board wipe at that point, right? Yeah, these Gleeful Demolitions just chilling here, looking awkward. Looking like, why did I include them? No, they'll come in handy at some point, I know that. Okay, burn hits. Wow. Well, now we have to anticipate Wandering Emperor. So we're going 3 at Jace. So that way, if they Wandering Emperor one of the devils, then at least Jace still dies, right? And it would be one of the devils regardless that they want to hit, so. Because of the exile. There it is. Okay. At that point, they might as well... Okay, yep. Nice. Not bad. Should we have gone 1 devil to face? Because they would have wanted to block the one from the face, and then the devil would have died. Oh, yeah. Okay, I could have done that a little better, right? Great news, guys. We have City on Fire available this turn. That's great news, man. Oh, it'll let me choose the creatures. Well, let's see if it lands, right? Keep 2 open, or keep... Do we play around a Make Disappear? Or do we play like, oh, we should be able to attack with a creature? Let's play around a Make Disappear, as awful as that is, right? So now we have the 2 open for it. Oh, I guess they could sacrifice their Samurai, though, but at least we'd force that. Come on, Gleeful Demolitions, do something. Soul Partition! Hey, that's a way to get rid of City on Fire. Very nice, opponent. Luckily, if we don't lose a creature, we can play it out again next turn. This is getting dangerous, though, isn't it? Come on, Gleeful Demolition, do something this game. I believe in you. Oh, City on Fire again. So I guess that's a good time to attempt. And then we'll do... Like, this time we won't play around a Make Disappear, is what I'm getting at. And keep the devils open instead. Nice. Is it another Soul Partition, maybe? Let's double swing at the Wandering Emperor. These are doing triple, and if one of them dies, they also deal triple. So I guess we'll see what happens. Because it could be Soul Partition, instant speed, hit the City on Fire, and then they have a successful block. It's all risky against control, though, so... Wow, Emperor's out of here. Oh, second Emperor. Okay. I'll tell you what, though. Okay, they're up to 20. They got the plus, that's going to 5. Down to 8. We could get there, guys. It'd be really nice to see these Gleeful Demolitions do something, but they might not this game. Unfortunately. We do have... Let's see, we have all 4 Epicures. Even one of those would be great off the top, huh? Because it does the extra damage from the City on Fire. It's... Oh my goodness. Well, we could actually play the second City on Fire. We're in trouble, man. We're in trouble. They still have 3 open. It's got to be some form of removal, right? I suppose we just take 1 swing and keep the other 2 back. Because we're at 8, guys. We could die next turn from something. Soul Partition number 2. All right, they got the block. And we can ping the Wandering Emperor, so that way they don't have... I guess they don't need the -2. We better just ping the Wandering Emperor anyways, right? Keep it down a little bit. GG, man. Wow, these Soul Partitions had great targets for them this game, huh? I can't think of a better target than a huge chunky enchantment. Alright, I will chump because taking 6 damage is a lot of damage. You know what? No. No. I'll chump next turn if I have to. Hey, Crucible. That's not bad. It's not bad at all, is it? I guess we just keep Crucible open. And look, there's a case to be made to drop down to 1 Gleeful Demolition, but not yet, man, not yet. Like, it just so happens that we got through both of them in a game where we didn't see any of our artifacts. You know, that's definitely a more testing required scenario. Alright, end turn. These do have haste too. We could have, like, tried to blitz 3 to the Wandering Emperor, but Memory Deluge can help them find whatever they need to find, so. And this looks like a Sunfall style deck, too. The Sunfall control decks have been super rough, man. Wow, they just go Memory Deluge on their turn, because why not at this point? They have 6 cards in hand, 4 mana, 5 mana open. They go plus. Yeah, if the Soul Partitions didn't exist, I think we maybe would have had a good chance here, guys. I do. We're going to chump with one of these because I guess we don't need the red sources though, huh? I guess it doesn't matter. I'd rather chump with one of those though, I would say, right? Because we'd rather have the Devil's ability when a city on fire is on the board. Another land, guys. Oh, no. Oh, no. All right, we'll just, we'll go for it. We'll go for it. The, all it takes is a removal for the devil, and it's over. Urza's rebuff to counter it. Brutal stuff, man. All right, let's see that removal. And then the swing for 7, and we'll definitely let them play this out because we do admire a control deck that can actually end the game. Wow, no removal for the devil. We're alive for a turn, right? I'll just ping the Wandering Emperor again. I think that's completely acceptable, right? I wonder if going wide with the Samurais would have been a better bet for them with the Wandering Emperor. For a couple turns at least. More mana. So, I mean, we can attempt the other city on fire. Memory Deluge. Find the counter spell. They actually had... Yeah, they have 5 mana open here. Oh, it lands for a second. That's a thing, I suppose. We're still going to have to chump with the Elemental if they don't find removal for it. Wandering Emperor number 3 for some reason. I guess they want to exile this spirit. I'll tell you what, though, just like going wide. I mean, that would literally end it because we're at 2. So there they go. Okay. Okay. We'll chump the 8/8. Good game, opponent. I'd say we got a little unlucky, but I'd sound like a broken record for like the last 5 videos if I said that. So more testing required for sure. Let's get into the next one. That first game took a little bit of time, but not too much time. You know, sometimes you go up against a control deck and it could easily go over 20 minutes for the match, which is a little bit excessive. At that point, there's a decision to be made around like the 5 to 8 minute mark, I would say, of do I concede because the control player has controlled the board state. Okay, Sure, right? Yeah, opponent goes first here. Okay, very well. I think this is fine. Now, hey, if we we have Epicure for the blood token, Requisitioner for the treasure. Yeah, now we'd actually have artifacts to hit, but Rafine's Tower. Great. Yeah, that's what we want to see going first, guys. Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Are they going to keep the mana open? They are, guys. We might be up against another control match. This would be brutal if it was. Because I don't think we're favored against control. I really don't. Because I don't think the deck is fast enough. Because we're definitely mid-range, dude. And only some mid-range knows how to be fast enough for control. Okay, Kaito. I mean, this might be a different style of control, which is good news for us. So Celestus for the turn, we get to keep Play with Fire open. At that point, so we can't block this 1/1 anyways. We can get rid of the 1/1 so they don't get the free draw off of Kaito next turn. If they block with Requisitioner, we got the ramp that we need for the burn down the house when it comes time. We're drawing much better this game, guys. Just, okay, so we get the treasure, and they don't get the free draw off of the Kaito. Play with Fire open. And now we don't have to see a land off top if we want to attempt to burn down the house. Unless they keep all their mana open, which would be very sad. But it looks like a different style of control, so maybe it's not a counterspell. Yeah, we want to get burned down. Then we want to take out the Kaito with the Hasty Devils and prepare for the City on Fire next turn, as long as there's no board wipe. Alright, they're keeping the 4 open, so I'm going to attempt to get a counterspell out of their hand by targeting their Kaito. Nope. They're gonna keep the they're gonna keep it open, and it might be another Wandering Emperor deck, which would really suck. Oh, it'll definitely filter through. I'd say ditching the Flame Blessed Bolt is worth it, based on what we think we're up against, right? Maybe if we attack, they go Wandering Emperor, and then they're tapped out, so we can just get the Devils down. I know attacking with the Devils could be good too. Oh, crap. Okay. We could also just keep Stoke the Flames open. Might be fine. Alright, yeah. We've been doing, like, a little bit of different plays recently. I've just been, like, testing it out, see how it goes. Usually we go super risky. There's the Wandering Emperor. So they can still use this ability, but I'm taking it out while they're tapped out. Or maybe I should have waited for their turn, because maybe we could have gotten that, maybe we could have gotten the counterspell out of their hand. They would have been able to keep the Wandering Emperor, though. There's a 4-mana card for a 4-mana card. But now they get to keep all 5 open. Decisions, guys. Tough decisions. Not seeing the mana we need here, too. Because as soon as we attempt burn, our treasure's gone, and then we can't do it again next turn until we see more land. So we could filter with Blood Token. Wouldn't mind that, necessarily. I'll start with the filter and get rid of one of the burns. Might be a mistake, but just kind of want to see more here, man. Into the Fire. Okay. Epicure. Really looking for that land, but I guess we could go Blood Token into the Fire. They dropped the GGs. Still have 3 open for Into the Fire, but yeah. I'm going to look for that land this turn, because I wouldn't mind playing more land next turn, too. Aha! See, now if we see more mountains off the top, I wouldn't really mind that at all. Because then we'd actually have 2 open for, like, a Make Disappear and stuff. Silver Scrutiny, restock for 3. Oh man, these control decks have been rough, but I mean, this time around, we're just like, we're just not doing much. Realm Breaker! Nice! I have no idea what we're up against, man. I know it's control, but like, I guess I don't know what type of control. Gleeful Demolition, and we still have enough for Burn Down the House. And then we would have... Yeah, you know what? We're going to start with the Gleeful Demolition. And target the treasure, right? Oh wait, we wouldn't have enough for Burn Down the House because we're ditching the treasure here. Where was my brain going with that? If we tapped the Celestus and popped the Celestus, then we would have had enough. Well, I guess we'll just attempt the City on Fire, guys. We're going way too slow for these controlled matches, so if they got the counter, then they got the counter. Urtai? Okay. Sure. That's a way to do it. Hey, I don't mind seeing another Burn Down the House. I'll take that action too. Skitterbeam. The heck do I want to keep? I guess Skitterbeam's a little bit better right now, right? Right? Hey, yeah, sure. That's totally fine. Yeah, for a little bit there, we were drawing better, but then we didn't see land for all those turns. In a 25 land deck, seeing 4 mana should have been a little bit easier, right? I think so. With all the filtering and everything going on too, with the Celestus, filtered twice off, 3 times with Celestus now, right? Okay, I'll ditch the Play with Fire. We don't need that right now. I think going wide is going to be the best bet. And we're going to attempt the Skitterbeam. We only have 1 mana open now. Hey, Skitterbeam lands. We're going wide quite nicely. I'm just full swinging. If they want to block one of the 1/1s, Wandering Emperor number 2. Take out the main Skitterbeam. Get it out of here, right? Third tie one of the 1/1s and take the rest of the damage. Oh, they actually trade with one of the 2/2s, which isn't bad for us, guys. The trade might mean a Sunfall, though, soon. Depopulate. Oh, man. Well, they go plus, so they don't lose the Emperor. Crucible's a good draw. We're going to just attempt the Burn Down the House Devils, though, instead of Crucible. Although, if it's a counter spell... Nah, this is fine. Let's do this. Nice, okay. Actually, all 3 to Wandering Emperor. Okay, we're playing around spot removal, but even if, like, the spot removal would have had to be Exile, but since we just went up against a deck that had Soul Partition, I thought we'd be safe about it. Go for draw. I think we have a chance here, guys. They have 4 mana open, though, unfortunately. Celestus, Filter, or Crucible to try the 5 damage on the Teferi. Alright. Crucible, attempt the 5 damage on Teferi. Nice! Teferi's out of here, dude. We have a good chance, man. I'm keeping this in hand to filter off Celestus if it switches back today, or potentially next turn if we have to force the switch. Ill-Tempered Loner. Okay. Okay. We gotta be prepared for another Depopulate, so I think before the swing, we are gonna filter here. And we might just let it go to nighttime. Another Ill-Tempered. Yeah, we'll ditch the land and keep the Ill-Tempereds because, yeah, we gotta be ready for the other Depopulate. Is it gonna be... Cut down. Take 4. Opponent's fizzling out over there, guys. They only got 1 card remaining. They need another Silver Scrutiny or something. Mirrex can't block. Take that action for sure. Hey, Mirrex. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mirrex could be really good against a deck like this, so I'm actually going to ditch one of the Ill-Tempered Loners. Yeah. Yeah, I think something that can potentially generate a creature for us every turn is much, much better. This might have been a back and forth luck game, right? Where at first I feel like we were drawing really well, but then we didn't see land when we really essentially needed it. But now it looks like the opponent might be getting a little unlucky here too. Just great cards packed in, but they're slowly but surely fizzling out, not seeing all of their draw spells that they probably have in here. I think taking out the Kaito was huge. I think taking out the Teferi was huge, right? Actually having the 5 damage we needed to hit the Teferi was just, yeah, terrific, because that could have kept their hand nice and stocked. Wandering Emperor back to hand. That's pretty good for them. Pretty good. Take out a Devil, right? Luckily, we can still hit that Wandering Emperor next turn. And the last card in their hand was a land. Okay. We have the Blitz on Requisitioner if we want that, or we could just play out creatures too. 2, 3. Actually gonna save the Blitz on Requisitioner as a little bit of a surprise, right? And we're probably just gonna go Ill-Tempered Loner for the turn.
Years of training for this.
We only have 2 open, unfortunately. So we can't do like the Mirrex ability, but... Or 2 open plus the Mirrex, I mean. Yep, GG opponent. Very nice, guys. Very nice. This is a perfect example of a game where I keep bringing this up. Yeah, heck yeah, I had fun. I keep bringing this up, but Celestus has just been doing way too much for me. Like, it's been a 1-of in a lot of these mid-range builds, but maybe it should be a 2-of. And I bring this up sometimes too, where worse comes to worse, since it's legendary, if you do see 2, you can always just ditch the other one to its own ability as well. I don't know, man. Just something to consider. Like, did you guys see how much we actually, like, filtered through the deck with this simple little card? And, you know, that extra ramp really coming into play when we just weren't seeing the mana we needed to see. There was, yeah, at the beginning we drew well, then we didn't draw well, then we drew pretty well, and the opponent did not. So, I guess we can't necessarily say the opponent didn't draw well. There's look at the powerhouse of cards we just went up against, dude. Couple Wandering Emperors, taking those down is no joke. I like the deck opponent. Scary stuff. Scary stuff, man. I think like Esper in general is set up well, right? Esper, you can go Legends with Esper, and that's like a super scary build to go up against. I think Esper Control looks super scary too. You know, it's got the Triome working in its favor as well. It's one of those things like when I bring up Selesnya, like Selesnya is set up so well. You can do Selesnya humans quite successfully, Selesnya enchantments, Selesnya toxic. I believe there's a way to put together Selesnya mid-range, but I'm still trying to find that way. Okay. Also, that last game I could have played out much better, guys. There was probably a better line of play somewhere. Maybe we would have found it had we known exactly what we were up against. Opponent goes first? Okay, a bad hand, right? Let's do this. I'm pretty satisfied with that win last game, so let's test the deck to its limits, huh? Alright, Swamp. There's a land. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about, buddy. Seeing 3 right away. And the filtering off the blood tokens came in handy too, right? Getting us closer to the land when we did need it. Didn't find us the land. I guess it eventually found us the land, but yeah, you guys know what I mean. Not bad, not bad. Obviously, this deck would be a little bit more suited to attempt going up against aggro, but we're not really seeing it here, man. No blue over here. Oh my goodness, guys. We get to actually play a card, and it gets to land. We get Ral's Reinforcements this turn. Not saying, like, the cards are going to survive, but, like, at least it'll land. At this point, I'm surprised it wasn't Swamp into Island, man. You know what I mean? Are we good? There we go. All right, rouse reinforcements. So cut down, go for the throat, Sheoldred's Edict. Those are all very played spot removal pieces. Anything else for 2 or less swamps? I think those are the main 3 that we see, right? Yeah. We don't really see Infernal Grasp anymore. Another land off the top would be pretty good, guys. Keeping Crucible in hand for as long as possible and eventually using it as spirits just is much better, especially when we have the City on Fire attempt. So let's go for the throat then, and they actually just target the Epicure. Okay. Are we going to see Trespasser for the turn? We sure are. Trespasser's a pain. It's not too bad, though. Not against this deck. We have Burn Down the House in here as a 4 of, so... Yeah, more land. Dude, not bad. It really isn't. It really isn't. Just, like, take some swings from the Trespasser, go rouse reinforcements again for the turn. Gets us 1 step closer to the City on Fire if we don't lose a creature. We technically have the Blood token open, but I don't think we use it. I think this is a fine hand to keep. Into the Fire doesn't hit Trespasser, unfortunately, but best thing the opponent can do is just spot remove one of our 1/1s, because we're going to take the damage from Trespasser, and I really want to get City on Fire down next turn. So even if we have to play Crucible as a land. Oh man, Gix definitely makes this a little bit more of a pain to take. Maybe they'll think we'll triple block. Nah. Okay, so take the 3, play Crucible, get City down, take 6 next turn, or more, because, well, no, yeah, never mind. No easy way for them to get Trespasser into the grave, because I was thinking they have the 4 mana if they can blitz back Trespasser, but not Trespasser, I'm sorry guys, Underdog. See, now it could be risky, because they do have damage on the board, but not enough damage, right? Ooh. Land. Now we can go Crucible. Whoop, whoop, ooh. Have some chump blockers. But Crucible is definitely better as a surprise next turn, right? Let's do this, man. No Invoke Despair in Standard anymore. No great ways for Mono Black to take out a City on Fire. Even though they could potentially do a good chunk of damage, they have 6 on the board already. It's not like we're at 8, right? We're still at 16, so... I can't even think of a way for Mono Black to take out City on Fire. The best thing they can do, yeah, take out as many creatures as possible before they become deadly next turn. So Into the Fire is going to be dealing 6 to everything if we need to wipe their board after ours. If we see... I guess Skitterbeam Battalion could wrap up this game if Go for the Throat's their spot removal in hand. Skitterbeam, each token dealing 6 damage, right? So... Sheoldred would be good. Each of these are dealing 3 too, though. Yeah, it's just Skitterbeam, isn't it? Hey, Sheoldred, not the Sheoldred I was thinking, but each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Wow. That worked out for us, having only tokens on the board, huh? Full swing. Yeah, dealing triple damage is so absurd. Like, the first time we played City on Fire, I think we had... Was that one of the only builds recently that had a 100% win rate? I think it might have been. But yeah, if you pull it off, like, yeah, dude, I'll tell you what, man. Wow. You just gotta completely... Like, you gotta... What's even the word I'm looking for, man? You gotta completely lean into the combo and hope. Hope for the best, because yeah, if it actually lands, then it's over. Alright, let's go one more, guys. We're like 40 minutes in. I got a few other videos to record today, so hopefully it doesn't take too long, but I don't think it will. Being a mid-range deck, you'd think the matches would take a little longer, but I mean, that last game was a good example of how fast things can actually wrap up. Only 2 land again. Wow, hey, we go first. Let's go. Okay, let's give it a shot. Couple turns of Rouse Reinforcements definitely won't hurt anything if we don't see land for a few turns, right? So, Proving Grounds, Mirrex. When it comes time, the Mirrexes are... I forgot to go over that in the when we went over the deck, but these are artifact creatures as well, so those do work with the Gleeful Demolition. I definitely should have brought that up. We see the land. That's good news, man. Probably just Rouse Reinforcements for the turn. And I don't think they block here, right? But if they did block, then that would be really good for us. So land off the top would be terrific. Maybe we need 26 land in here, guys. I don't know. I think there's going to be a good chance of flooding at 26. 25 is probably a sweet spot. Ooh, Golgari. Ooh. Oh, I guess it's probably Jund, but when I see these two cards, I think like Golgari aggro or something, you know? Into the Fire doesn't hit the Glisa here. Yeah, land would have been really good. I potentially would have just activated Mirrex, set up for the Gleeful Demolition next turn. Yeah, the first strike Death Touch and everything's pretty brutal, man. I think I'm just going to hold it all back and hope that we see a little bit more than the triple Rouse Reinforcements, right? I guess anything playable off the top would be good. Any Convoke would be good. Stoke the Flames, take out the Sunslayer would be good. Deals combat damage to a player. I guess we just take this because there's a chance that we do see our Convoke card off the top. And what's the difference of them drawing and losing? Maybe a world of difference, huh? Deeproot Wayfinder. I've really struggled to get Deeproot Wayfinder to work. Although I do know why it's good and why people have been trying it out. Combat damage to a player or battle, surveil 1. Then you may return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. I've been struggling to get it to work though, guys. I've tried it in quite a few builds, I would say. Well, not quite a few, I guess, but... If we start with the swing, they might take it because, you know, we have red in here. It could be simple. Like a play with fire. I think they might take this, man. Or they might power up Sleeper, block 2, but then take 4. Which we might be able to outpace them. See, this could be like a play with fire from our hand. And that would be a really good trade for us, right? Come on, Convoke cards, man. Come on, Convoke. Or a land. I'd still accept the land. Should we be playing around a board wipe? I wasn't even thinking about that. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe. They're definitely playing enough creatures, but you never know sometimes. You really don't. Tear Asunder. Wow. That's worth it, too. Good play, opponent. Very good play. I like keeping Ill-Tempered Loner and because Ill-Tempered Loner actually blocks Glissa quite well. So I'm going to ditch the Into the Fire. Into the Fire didn't do too much today, but it's not like we saw... Like, we didn't go up against mono-white aggro, which is like mono-white humans, essentially. That would have been really good against that, right? We didn't see mono-red for some reason, so Into the Fire would have been pretty good against mono-red, too. Shieldred. Dude, look at how scary the opponent's deck is. Holy cow, man. Holy cow. You know what would be cool? I wonder if, like, a Golgari legendary deck would be something that we could try. So we could take 5. Take 2 from Shieldred down to 10. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it this time around, guys. I think seeing a land for Ill-Tempered Loner would be terrific. See, they're going down to 10 as well, so... Can we still outpace them without seeing what we need to see off the top? Probably not. We definitely need to draw well. Nice. A land. Glittering Stockpile would get us one step closer to the burn down the house, but we'll be forced to chump next turn if we go Stockpile for the turn. We'll still have to block pretty well here, though. Oh, the draw on the Sunslayer actually gained them some life, too. Yeah, that's rough. Okay. So Ill-Tempered Loner might just get eaten by spot removal right away, guys. So setting up for the burn down the house might just be better. I mean, we could still see a land off the top, though, when it comes time. This is a really tough decision, man. We can't just swing with 2, because this can become a 2-2 easily. If we swing with 3, we're just dealing 1. They're still gaining 2 from Shieldred next turn. If we swing with any more than that, then the spot removal can close out the game next turn. So we're just going to go Loner. Yeah. I think a few turns of chump blocks. I mean, obviously that's not going to do it. Eventually Shieldred wraps up the game, right? We're on a 5-turn clock until Shieldred's gone. So we do need the burn down that house eventually. I'll tell you what, though. We're wide enough. If they can switch it to nighttime, or if they switch it to nighttime and we see a land, then burn down the house for 5 damage wraps up the game. Aw, go for the throat. It is that simple sometimes, unfortunately. Now, we do have chump blockers still, though. They're at 14. They're going to be... So we block here. They can buff the Sleeper twice to a 3-3. 5, 9. So we have to chump. Wayfinder could ramp them, but I'm not too concerned. I'd rather take less damage, right? So something like that. Still have 4 creatures. I'm pretty sure this is the opponent's game. It's usually right about now where I say something like, "Oh yeah, this could go either way," but I don't know about this one, guys. I don't know. Like, we need to see the land, then we need to wipe the board, but then we're back to square one, but they still have 3 cards in hand, so Trespasser. Okay, now the burn down the house. That's just extra. That's a bonus, man. No land though, so down to 4. Yep. GG opponent. Let's just play City on Fire for fun. Can we survive the turn? No. No, because Shieldred's gonna drain us regardless, and we only have 4 blockers. And they could still power Sleeper up enough too, so yeah. Let's get City on Fire down. Because we can. Good game opponent. Super scary deck, man. Let's go to one of these. I never get to use that emote, actually. I save it for, like, a victory, but then, like, the victory... Like, if you drop that on a victory, it's like... it just doesn't feel very nice, you know what I mean? So I should drop it just for fun sometimes. That's right, Glissa can pick up the enchantments. Also, Tear Asunder can pick up enchantments too. Obviously, right? But so this deck was not a safe deck to go up against for our City on Fire build, man, at all. Had we seen the land that turn and dropped the burn down the house, I think we would have easily still been in that one. Although we really needed to see things in a different order there for sure. Really good play from the opponent, not letting our Gleeful Demolition hit the token there. That was so worth it, playing that Tear Asunder. That was so good, actually. Oh, man. All right, here's the deck list again, guys. What would you add or take out? More testing's required. I liked that we tried out Into the Fire. I think, again, it would have been a little better had we seen a little bit more of the meta that we've been seeing, which is a lot of mono red, a lot of just like, a lot of aggro in general. And guess what? A lot of those aggro builds, 2 damage happens to pick up a ton of stuff, man. If you are up against like that mono white build I was talking about, or just humans in general, like Brutal Cathars get picked up. Their 2/2 that gives ward to everything gets picked up. Thalia gets picked up, obviously, like, and soldiers as well. Like, just 2 damage picks up a lot of stuff. So it would have been awesome to see this do a little more. Today we just ended up filtering with it. We didn't even cast it. We just ended up discarding this to other things like the blood tokens and whatnot. Speaking of which, I guess one of the things I would consider, and this is like super sketchy, but it's based on the first match. I guess we could drop down to 1 Gleeful Demolition. Go up another piece of spot removal wouldn't be a bad thing necessarily. Or honestly, another piece of ramp. The second Celestus, actually, to make sure that we can actually see burn down the house when it comes time. 25 land didn't feel like it was enough when it needed to be enough, and then other times it felt like too much. So that's magic, I think. I think that's magic. I think I would keep the 25 land. I don't think I would go up to 26. I know we got a ton of expensive stuff in here, but I mean, Skitterbeam, you want to think about as a 5-drop. We have ramp on Celestus, Stockpile. We have potential ramp with the treasures on Requisitioner, right? We have filter on the Elder Dragon. We have filter on the Celestus and the Epicure's Blood token as well. 25 should totally be enough. We have Convoke on Stoke and City on Fire, so our creatures are helping us cast those anyways, so even though they look expensive, they're a little bit cheaper. Stockpile we didn't get to see today, right? But that bottom ability on Stockpile could easily help you ramp to where you need to ramp to, right? You know, you only see 3 mana for the whole game. Get Stockpile down on 3. It's totally fine because eventually the extra Stockpile, when you end up sacrificing this to that bottom ability, you could still cast out a 5-mana card quite easily with it, like a Burn Down the House when you need it. Which Burn Down the House is probably the most important card in the deck, right? Helping you go wide is huge, but also just helping you clean up a board state is huge. And if you don't see it, you're in trouble. If you see it, you're feeling pretty good. If you're seeing multiple of these, you're feeling pretty good, right? So that one game where I actually ended up ditching one of the Burn Down the House probably wasn't the best bet. I think having multiple of these just still would have been the best to do, right? To keep in hand. So guys, if you ended up making it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you. I don't know what it's been recently. I just feel like we're getting super unlucky, and maybe it's just me though. Maybe it's just how I'm putting the lists together, but I don't know. Looking at it, it feels pretty clean. But it might also just be how brutal standard is too, right? The power level of all the cards and everything. But we got some pretty powerful cards in here. Oh, speaking of which, as much as we want to see City on Fire, and as powerful as it actually is, maybe if we drop down to 3 and go up more utility removal, that would be pretty good too. Maybe the utility removal would just get in our way. And like I said earlier, you really just want to like full lean into the combo, and that's when you win the most. So I guess seeing this is pretty essential, isn't it? Ill-Tempered Loner, I suppose, is a little janky, but it's such a fun card, man. I could see dropping down to one of these too, and again, same concept, more utility removal could be fine. So, to recap, guys, what would I do? If you're still sketched out by the 2 damage from Into the Fire, drop both of these for Brotherhood's End. You'll be fine. You're hitting a lot of your stuff with Brotherhood's End too, and it doesn't have that filter ability, but I think either or would be completely fine in here. I would drop an Ill-Tempered Loner and potentially one of the Gleeful Demolitions. Down to 1 should be fine. I'd go up a second Celestus because that extra ramp is pretty essential. And if you weren't seeing mana as much as I wasn't today, I'd go up another mana, probably a Mirrex. Second Mirrex. If you go up the second Mirrex though, then you might as well keep the second Gleeful Demolition too. There's still quite a few artifacts that you wouldn't mind hitting with the Gleeful Demolition on the opponent's side of the board too. Like we're seeing some Steel Seraph and stuff, which is a super scary artifact. You know, hitting their 3 mana prototype Steel Seraph for a 1 mana Gleeful Demolition feels pretty good. And you know, it takes a very valuable creature off their board, so I don't know. And like we have the artifacts on Skitterbeam and Celestus and Glittering Stockpile. We end up going up a Celestus and the Mirrex because Mirrex generates artifacts too. I would keep them. Okay, all right. One more recap, right? I would drop an Ill-Tempered Loner. I would go up the second Celestus. I would potentially drop like a City on Fire and go up the Mirrex. But if you're not doing that, you could still just drop a Mountain and go up a Mirrex and keep the 25 land, because I still think 25 should be enough. It really depends on how often you see mana, because today it seemed like a struggle, right? All right, guys, enough rambling, huh? Either way, if you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.